Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brent from Team Draw Better, and today we are going to be showcasing you 3 test hands for Cyber Dragon. Now, I wanted to make this video for you guys just to showcase how easily you can break your opponent's boards with the deck that I have built here, and I'm going to leave the deck profile link in the description below. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deck profiles, live duels, and test hands like this. So let's get into it. Now, before we do, we're going to shuffle up the deck nice and good. And just for the sake of this first test hand, we're going to say our opponent won the dice roll. They don't know what we're playing, so they're going to go first. Now, going second, obviously the best case scenario for this deck. So we're going to shuffle up. Our opponent's going to cut for us. And they are going first. We are going second. And we're going to draw into a Cyber Dragon Hers, a Carnot, Cyber Emergency, Cyber Dark Realm, and Infinite Impermanence. Okay. So, obviously not every hand is going to be perfect. However, this isn't as bad as it seems because we have a route to get to Power Bond, and we have interaction during our opponent's turn, and we have our starter for our turn. And Carnot can special from our hand on our turn at any point because our opponent's just going to combo off anyway. So odds are they're going to activate an effect in the hand or graveyard. So Carnot's going to be a free special summon. So let's say our opponent is playing their turn. We're going to use an Imperm to stop one of their monster effects. And now they're going to pass to us. We're going to draw. It's going to be a Cyber Dragon Core. Okay, so that's even better, which means we don't have to use the emergency to get to our starter. So what we can do is we can normal summon Core effect to trigger. Now, if they ash this, it's fine. It's totally fine because we didn't need emergency or realm anyway because we already have them. So not using Core is fine. So if they ash Core, that's fine. We would just go into Cyber Dark Realm effect to add. And the one Cyber Dark monster we're going to add is obviously going to be Cyber Dark Chimera. And you get an additional normal summon off of this. So we're going to normal summon Chimera. Chimera effect, pay cost to add Power Bond. And after this resolves, you can also fusion summon by banishing from the graveyard because of using Chimera's effect. So we'll grab Power Bond off of Chimera. Now, just for some extra damage on board, we're going to special summon Carnot because a effect was activated from the hand or graveyard during the duel. So the next thing we can do, because we used Chimera's effect, we can link these two away because we have 2 machines, and we can make Cyber Dragon Seeger. So now that we linked that away, what we can do is we can go into Power Bond, and because we used Chimera's effect, we can banish our Cyber Dragon Core from our graveyard, and we can use the Hers from hand in order to make the Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. And when it's fusion summoned, you can target spells and traps up to the number of fusion materials and destroy them. So you get 2 spell and trap pops off of this when it's summoned, and then we can use Rampage Dragon's effect. Actually, before we do that, we need to use Hers' effect because it was sent to graveyard, and we can add another Cyber Dragon. In this case, we don't have any other than itself in the grave, so we'll just grab Cyber Dragon from deck, and then we can use Rampage Dragon's effect to send 2 light machine monsters from deck to grave in order to gain additional attacks. So we can just send a Disa Blaster, and we can send Noxter. So because of Power Bond, Rampage is at 4,200 attack, and he gets 3 attacks. Carnot is at 3k, and Seeger can boost up another. So at this point, we would just go in for game with a total of, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 15, and 17, around 17,000 damage right here. Because you have 3 attacks of 4,200, 3,000 off Carnot, and then 2,100 off of that, off of Seeker. So that is one test hand, and we're going to see if we can get one that has a little more board breakers, just to show you how you can really just wipe out your opponent's entire board and then proceed to go into your usual Cyber Dragon OTK line. So we're going to shuffle up again. And let's see if we can get a little more board breakers. We're going to put the Seeger and the Rampage back into the extra deck. And let's see what we got. We got Hers, Imperm, Lightning Storm, Power Bond, and Duality. Okay, so a little, kind of the same hand, but not too different. So same thing, going second. Our opponent's going first. They're going into their plays. We can stop one of their monster effects with Imperm, and then they're going to combo off a little more, but they're not going to fully get to where they would because of Imperm. So they're going to pass. We're going to draw, and it's going to be Cyber Dragon. Okay, so what we can do here is we can go, depending on what they have more of, we can use Lightning Storm to either call attack position monsters or spell and traps. Depending on what they have more of, I would say go for back row if they have more back row, or if they have more monsters, then I would go for that. But let's say Lightning Storm is going to call back row. Let's say they only have 2 monsters on board and they have 3 set back row. We're going to pop those so they have no back row. Now we're going to special summon Cyber Dragon because they control monsters. And what we can do here is we can go Power Bond, and we can fuse Cyber Dragon and Hers together. And we can go ahead and make another Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon is going to gain its effect, but there is no back row to pop because we popped it with Lightning Storm. So we can just use Rampage Dragon's effect to send 2 machines to gain an additional attack. And we're going to send a Core. And we can send Carnot. And Hers is also going to trigger. So what we can do before that, we can get our ad off of Hers. No other Cyber Dragon in grave. Well, we can add back the Cyber Dragon from grave, so we can just grab him from grave, and then Rampage is going to dump the Core and the Carnot. And Carnot can special out because your opponent more than likely activated an effect in hand or grave. So Carnot's going to special, and we have Core in grave just in case if your opponent gets rid of all our monsters, then we can activate Core's effect. We're going to go to battle phase, and we can swing over something with Carnot, and Chimera is going to be a 42 again because of Power Bond. So the other monster we can easily beat over with Rampage Dragon. And Rampage Dragon is still going to have 2 additional attacks at 4,200 because we dumped Carnot and Core. So Rampage alone is still enough for game, but let's just say your opponent figures out a way to block one of the attacks. What we can do is in battle phase, we can go Duality, and what we can do is we can tribute the Rampage Dragon because we already used its attacks, and we can special summon out a Cyber Dragon from deck because they're both level 5s. They're both machines, and one is light and one's dark. So Duality works with this. So we killed that with the Rampage Dragon, so we can swing for 21 with Cyber Dragon. It's not necessarily lethal, but what we can do here then is we can use Duality's effect, banish itself from grave, we can target a Rampage, and we can target the hers. And we can shuffle both back into the deck and draw a card. So we're going to shuffle the hers back now. And we're going to see what we can draw. Hopefully something a little more interactive, because we weren't able to necessarily get in for lethal because they found a way to block. Just a scenario to think about, but we're going to shuffle this up. Opponent's going to cut us, and we're going to draw, and it's a Cyber Emergency. Okay. So we did not use our first... Actually, no, we didn't have Emergency in this opening hand. So what we can do... This will actually work out pretty well because we want interaction. So we're going to go to main phase 2 after we hit our opponent for close to game, but we weren't able to get there. So we want to try to stop their plays, so we can go Emergency to add. And what we're going to add this time is going to be Noxter. And we can go Noxter effect, discard for cost in order to special summon. And then when it's normal or special summon, we can target a machine with 2100 attack or defense and special summon it. So we're going to target the Cyber Dragon, special it back. And now what we can do, we can go overlay these two. Going for Nova. And there is a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, so we can go Cyber Dragon Nova effect. And then it detaches, and then you target a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard. So we're going to target the original Cyber Dragon, bring it back. And then off of Nova, we can go into Infinity. And Infinity is your Omni Negate, so that can be our key piece of interaction for our opponent attempting to bounce back from what we did with their board. So, and we are machine locked because of Noxter's effect. So we don't have anything else here. We could go into Seeger, but we don't want to get rid of Seeger just because of... what the heck. Yeah, we can link away the Noxter and the Cyber Dragon. We can go into Seeger. Seeger can just be another piece of interaction, just in case they get a big body on board and they don't want to trigger the Omni Negate. They'll attempt to go to battle phase. We can just go Seeger in order to protect Infinity because that's the Omni Negate. But what we can do during their turn, we can detach and negate one of their effects, and then we can go straight back to our turn, draw for turn. It's a hers, it doesn't matter. We can just attack for game. So for the last test hand, the scenario I'm going to use is that Our opponent knows what we're playing now, and they're going to have us, we're assuming they're going to have us go first. So before we start shuffling up, we're going to side in a couple more interactive cards. I'm going to be siding in 3 Droplet and 2 Cyclone and a Cybernetic Overflow. And the cards we're siding out are going to be the 3 Ultimate Slayer, the Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, and a Raigeki. And we're siding out most of the board breakers because you're going first. You're not going to have any board to break. You're trying to establish one. So we're going to shuffle these into the deck. And we're going to try to get as much interaction as possible for our opponent's turn because we're trying to stop them and then go for the OTK. So we're going to shuffle this up. Oops. All right. And our opponent's going to cut. And let's see what we draw. We're going to draw a core, so there's our starter. Raigeki, we did keep 1 just for follow-up, so that's not necessarily terrible to see. We drew a Droplet, okay. Overflow, okay. And hers. So overall, not bad. We can always, if they do Ash Blossom core, we can still link it away. So this is our starting hand going first. Obviously what we would start with, we're going to normal summon core. Core effect to add. And we're going to add a Cyber Emergency. We're going to activate Emergency to add a Light Machine. And the one we can add is going to be Noxter. So now what we can do here is we can use, send this to grave. We can use Noxter's effect, sending hers to the grave, special summon itself. Hers is going to trigger to grab us a additional Cyber Dragon from deck. And now we are machine locked because of Noxter, but that's not terrible because what we can do now, we can link these 2 away. And we can go into Cyber Dragon Seeger. Seeger is just nice because if it's the only card on field, it can target itself in order to boost up its own attack, but your opponent just won't take damage. So it can boost itself up to 42, but they won't take damage. But we can link these away. So we have 3 Cyber Dragons in the graveyard. So Overflow has just become a 3-pop non-targeting trap card. Forgive me, we can actually only banish 2 because it says different levels. So we can either banish Core and Noxter or Core and hers. So it's still nice because it's like a Sword Soul Blackout. But yeah, there's another piece of interaction. We do have the Droplet we can set as well. And then we have a Cyber Dragon and Raigeki for follow-up. So we can pass to our opponent. They're going to draw for turn. They're going to go in to their standby and main phase. They're going to attempt to go into their plays. They have monsters on field. Let's say they're playing a Synchro deck. We can crack Overflow. If we see a monster and a tuner on board, we can banish Core and Noxter. And we can pop both of those so they can't go into their Synchro. And if they have follow-up, we can go Droplet and we can send Cyber Dragon. If need be, we can send the Raigeki, but we're just going to send Cyber Dragon as a negate, non-targeting negate. So they're going to pass back to us because they're not able to do anything now. We can shuffle this up. We can have them cut us and then draw for turn. All right. Not bad. We can go Power Bond. So we have a route to the OTK, so we can normal summon Chimera. Chimera effect, we can discard the Raigeki to grab us the Power Bond. And because we used Chimera, we can banish from grave for a cost as well. So we can use Power Bond, and we can banish the Cyber Dragon and hers in order to go in for our Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon on summon can pop any 2 back row, and then we can Rampage effect to send 2 light machines. We can send Carnot, and we can send another hers, just to try to profit as much as possible off of the sends, because hers is going to trigger to grab us another Cyber Dragon from deck. And then Carnot can special out because there were effects activated in the graveyard in hand. And we can just go battle phase and swing for game because Rampage is at triple 4200 again. So more than enough damage. But yeah, that's gonna be it, essentially. I hope you guys enjoyed these couple test hands just to show you what the deck can do and what you necessarily want to do going second and going first with this last test hand. But if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.